everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is 3 to Bournemouth, 0 to Manchester United. We are embarrassing, and that whole performance in general, manager and players, was embarrassing. And honestly, you've just missed an absolute cracker off camera. We've just all been going absolutely in, but I'm going to bring it to the fan forum. We all are. I'm not holding back. I'm not holding back today on what we say. None of us are. Double A is going to join us in a second. He's just actually on his way back from the game. Hasn't been able to get up here in time, but he is coming. We have Faz, Kev, and Double A is joining us. I can't honestly. Do you know what Goldbridge is saying? I can't speak. I mean, I have just spoken for quite a while having a rant, but I'm lost for words, honestly. At this moment in time, I just cannot. 3-0. They've never beaten us. Bournemouth 3-0. Could have been 4 as well with a VAR decision that ruled it out. I mean, Kev, what are you thinking right now?
I'm just at a loss, man. I think after Wednesday, good performance against Chelsea, and something just told me, you know, today. And I was walking the dog earlier, and a lad come out and he's like, Kev, what do you reckon today? Are you confident? And at that time, I just thought it would be typical of Manchester United to get beat today. Didn't think it would happen, but it's just, I don't know, it's typical of United. I'm sure we will get into it. I think there was questionable starting 11. Martial, I think, was a major talking point, regardless. People can look back on it in hindsight now. Martial starting the game, but again, you can't pinpoint him out. You know, United have conceded 3 goals that weren't down to him. I thought Hojlund did all right when he come on. It's a tough one to take because it's just so typical of what has been a crazy season at the minute, and we haven't played well. We didn't deserve to win today. One thing I will give is credit to Bournemouth. I think they've done an absolute job on us today. We never got to grips with Solanke as well. Thought he absolutely bossed Luke Shaw and Maguire. I think, you know, they never got to grips with him. I can't really understand that.
I think Maguire did all right. Luke Shaw was terrible today, and I know I never say that about Shaw, but he was. Yeah. But the Kev, I'm gonna get straight into it, and I'm sorry, but I am gonna have to speak because I can't hold myself back. What I cannot get my head round. This is why I'm Ten Hag. Honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it because there's a couple of things I cannot get my head round. First thing is it's so obvious that Shaw and Reguilon aren't working. The left-hand side was getting bullied all game. Not only do you let it go till half-time and we're 1-0 down, you then let it run until the second half and we get punished because that left-hand side is so poor. And the game's basically over when he decides to change it and bring Johnny Evans on. I mean, what Rafael Varane has to do, I have no idea. But it was so obvious that Shaw wasn't comfortable. Usually he is, but he wasn't. Reguilon was getting beaten to every header that was on the back post. He was getting shoved off the ball. Defensively, he contributes going forward, but then has no end product. Going backwards, non-existent. Yet Ten Hag doesn't recognise it. He doesn't change it. He has to change that early on. And there's other decisions in that game that I can't get my head around as well. I'm saying 10 minutes before Bruno gets booked, it's so obvious Bruno's going to get booked. And yeah, you can talk about Bruno and you can talk about, you know, he shouldn't get himself booked. The descent isn't right, and he had a poor game, like a lot of the players did. But if there is a manager's responsibility to look at it and say, my player's about to get booked here, I need everything I can for Anfield away, which, by the way, we're probably going to get battered. But the fact he makes 3 subs, doesn't sub Bruno and just lets it run and watches him get a yellow card when I can see it in the crowd. I'm a fan. I can see it in the crowd 10 minutes earlier. For me, I can't get my head around it. How are you not seeing these things as a manager? When
you're 3-0 down, the game is dead and buried. And one of the main criticisms of mine of Ten Hag is definitely not reacting to certain situations. He was far too slow to do it today. I know he would have looked and he'd have gone at 1-0 if we get the next goal. And at half-time, a change. I think most United fans could see that there needed to be an injection up the attacking area of the field. It never happened. And Ten Hag, he's done this many times this season. The Bruno one is a great point because if there's one player that discipline-wise is going to lose the plot, especially when you're 3-0 down, discipline goes out the window. For Fernandes on a personal level, to get booked for whatever he has said to the referee, you know, it's shocking. It really is. But from Ten Hag's point of view, you absolutely bang on, Beth. You look at it and go, I need to get this guy off the pitch, you know, and at least he's not missing the Liverpool game. He leaves him on. the game's dead and buried. You know, what in Ten Hag's mind is he thinking, oh, if we get one, we might get another, we might get a draw out of this. The game was done. It was done and dusted. You do not leave Bruno Fernandes on that pitch. We know he's petulant at the best of times, but when you're 3-0 behind at home, and to get booked for whatever he said, it's so frustrating.
The in-game management's unforgivable. Unforgivable, in my opinion. When people can blame the players for giving up, again, something else the manager has to try and address. But that in-game management, we could have won that game if certain changes were made. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah.
Terrible in-game management, and we'll get on to a bit more. But Faz, your thoughts?
All right.
You got a speech prepared?
Yeah, to start off with, okay? These are the records that have been broken since Erik ten Hag has joined Manchester United. Bournemouth have never won at Old Trafford since 1949, since the first fixture that they've played us. Today, that record got broken. Bournemouth have never scored 3 goals at Old Trafford until Erik ten Hag. That's another record that got broken. Bournemouth have never kept a clean sheet at Old Trafford until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never lost 7 out of 16 Premier League opening games until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United haven't lost back-to-back league games against Newcastle since 1972 until Ten Hag. Manchester United haven't lost 3 games in a row to Newcastle since 1922 until Erik ten Hag. Newcastle hadn't kept 3 clean sheets in a row against Manchester United since 1897 until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never lost 6 of their opening 14 games of the Premier League season until Erik ten Hag. No English team in Champions League history, have ever conceded 14 goals in the first 5 Champions League group games until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never conceded 3+ goals in 4 different Champions League games in a season until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never lost a Champions League game where they were leading by 2 goals until Erik ten Hag. Twice. Manchester United haven't lost a game they were leading by 2 goals since 2014 until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never dropped this many points from a winning position in the Champions League until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United have never conceded 4+ goals in 2 Champions League group games until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United haven't lost 9 of their opening 17 games since 1974 until Erik ten Hag. No team in the history of Champions League group games gave away 4 penalties in their first 4 Champions League group games until Erik ten Hag. No player as young as Ronnie had scored against Manchester United in the Champions League until Erik ten Hag. Manchester United haven't lost 8 of their opening 15 games since 1962. I've got loads left. I'm not stopping.
I mean, no. When you're talking about the game,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Manchester United hadn't lost 5 of their 10 games at Old Trafford since 1931 until Erik ten Hag. No, people need to know this.
We've got the message.
But they didn't know. But it's more. No, it doesn't matter. There is more. Why is it that when we say these exact facts, people get triggered?
I'm not getting triggered.
No,
I'm not getting triggered. They're facts. Okay, yeah, they are. And
there is so much more. There is record upon record upon record upon record that this manager is breaking. Yet people want to back this manager. I'm done. You lot need to swallow, and you lot need. This needs to be injected into people. That's what needs to be done.
Yeah, but some of them.
Yeah, but it's.
You're talking about what? The 4 penalties until that's
okay. Even which ones are you going to pick out?
Some of them are very valid. We get your point. We need to get on with the show. That's the only reason.
This is part of the show. The part of the show is to realise that this manager is done. It's Bournemouth, 15th position. There is no control of the game. There is no control of the players. The only reason that they did a job against Chelsea is because they had a diabolical performance against Newcastle. And I sat here and said, oh, they had that extra bit of motivation to go and do that against Chelsea. What happened today? Why can't they carry this on? Why, at the full-time whistle, he looked paralyzed. He himself didn't know what was going on. He's done, he's over. Bayern and Liverpool are going to carry out our funeral. There is ample amount of evidence, ample amount of facts, ample amount of records that are being broken, yet people still believe that there is a process, that things get better, things get worse before they get better. Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, guess what? It ain't never getting built at this rate.
Faz, are you just basing this off this one game? Or,
no, but it's...
So Wednesday night, were you 10 out?
Okay, I have to see performance. I have to see wins for me to continually say, okay, let's give him time.
That's why I'm asking. I just want to gauge, is it...
Because if the results are not going in our way, nobody should be given time. He should be winning. He should win. He should get a draw, get something out of the game. There's nothing. He doesn't get anything out of the game. So how can I sit here and say Erik ten Hag in or out based on this season? He has to be out. He's done.
Well, let's continue the conversation. I mean, Double A, welcome to the forum. You finally got here in the end. You missed a few bits. I mean, someone in the chat just said, Beth, it's on the players. Absolutely, players have to take responsibility. 100% players have to take responsibility because some of the players' performance individually were terrible. But at the same time, there's no excuse that a manager doesn't see the Shaw and Reguilón situation and change it and doesn't see other things in the game and change it. But anyway, let's get Double A's opinion. Double A, I mean, your thoughts on the game as a whole. A lot of people are very frustrated with Erik ten Hag. A lot of people are frustrated with the players. I mean, is it down to the fact the players aren't good enough? Is it down to the fact Erik ten Hag didn't make certain decisions? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's all of that combined, isn't it? We've seen with his team, and I think Chelsea was a massive false dawn. You know, Faz said it there. You know, we had that performance against Chelsea, who were terrible, by the way. Let's not kid ourselves. But as soon as this team, it's not even necessary. As soon as they come up against a well-oiled machine, a well-drilled team that are comfortable in the way they play, this team absolutely, they fall apart. And we saw that today. A lot of what Faz has said is true. It looks bad on the manager, but let's not forget these players have underperformed. A lot of them players have underperformed under several managers now, and you have to start asking questions of why they're continuously picked. And the same things keep happening again. And as a collective, they were absolutely terrible. There's no point. You can pick apart certain performances. Yes, Bruno should do better. Yes, Dalot should do better. Yes, McTominay should do better. But together, as a collective, as the players on the field, they stunk the place out. They didn't even look like scoring at all. They were absolutely terrible.
I mean, Kev, I need to ask you a question. Did Bournemouth look more well-drilled, more organised, and look like they had a game plan more than what Man United did?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the...
And we fell into the trap, the pressing.
Sickening thing,
we didn't even change that either. It was obvious.
One player pressed the whole game, and that was Bruno. That's the only player I saw running consistently.
But it's like not even that. They're pressing on us, playing out from the back. The only person ever offering themselves was Luke Shaw. Everyone else was hiding. That every time it went into Amrabat, I literally had to turn away because we were so on edge, and Bournemouth could smell blood. But we don't change anything. That's my issue. That
was the main one. I think the fact that United didn't really create much as well. We just played into Bournemouth's hands. I mean, total full respect to Bournemouth. The game plan, they must have been licking their lips watching it to go 1-0 up, to go 2-0 up. There was a huge moment at 1-0 in this game. And Hojlund's come in for criticism. Obviously, he's not scored a Premier League goal yet. He scored in the Champions League. If you watch it back, Diego Dalot, it's almost unforgivable because this could have been a game-changing moment, but deciding to shoot in the second half, Hojlund pulls across the defender, he's literally got a tap in, and the look that Hojlund gives over to Dalot, I mean, if looks could kill.
I thought he was going to punch him.
Yeah, and you would.
I'm being dead serious. If I'm Ten Hag, I'd drop him for 3 games straight for that. Being dead serious, it was unforgivable.
He does it all the time. They do it all the time. This is why people have got me for saying he's got low footballing IQ.
You've got to learn, though. You've got to learn.
But he doesn't learn. Dalot doesn't learn. When he gets in certain situations, he consistently makes bad decisions. McTominay was a one, again, looking blind and not passing it properly in the edge of the box. You know, there's too many instances of this happening. Bruno making poor decisions as well with balls. And
Maguire was caught on the ball, wasn't he, for the goal that was disallowed as well.
Absolutely. But it's too often these players are making these poor decisions all the time, and we know what the base answer is. It's that we need new players. They're not good enough for a lot of them.
But you also have to coach them. You have to teach them. Dalot there, the fact he's shooting, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, our fullbacks in general was so poor. Like Reguilón, okay, he was getting forward, but why is every single cross a looping cross that's so easy for the keeper to take hold of? Dalot, his crossing's terrible. Yeah. And then when you're in the perfect position, all you have to do is lay it across to Hojlund. You do a stupid shot like that, not even getting it on target. Ten Hag, he needs to learn. So what if Ten Hag, drop him for 3 games, genuinely being serious. That's how bad it was, because if Dalot crosses that and Hojlund scores, one, Hojlund's confidence is up when he desperately needs a Premier League goal as a striker. As a team member, you should be thinking of that. And 2, we probably take the game by the scruff of our necks, and we could even go and win it. It's turning point.
Changes the game totally, doesn't it?
And if we go down the other end, they score. It's game over.
You two, on the build-up, were talking about, does Hojlund get in the right positions? When he does, he doesn't get found. And you said it, Faz. You know, it's a 50-50 on it. A lot of the time, he's not being found by the players that are there to create for him, and he will continue to struggle in this team until players are actually actively looking for the striker to score goals. You know, I'm not going to say too much nice on Martial today. Again, I think
I've got something
the
to say on
fact
Martial.
that, well, yeah, I probably will, but I'll probably get taken off air. But again, it's one of them. Every number 9 in his team doesn't look good because the players don't play for a striker or to create for a striker. And listen, Hojlund will be a fantastic player, but he'll even be even better once we forget the players that want to feed him the ball.
I've got some super chats in that I need to read out. Nathan King, Welton United Stand Members Club, Jayesh. 80% of this squad are just bench players at best. We don't have the quality to compete. These players will never win us anything, let's be honest. SK, the issue is, was centre-back caught by pace midfield, left Amrabat, wingers were poor in final third. We didn't pass and move for space like Chelsea game and stood still. Yeah, there was a lot of standing still and there was no movement. And people can say the players are poor and the players are poor and they're not good enough. The players are poor. Should be able to beat Bournemouth at home. And Bournemouth have played well and they've got some good results. We still should not get beat 3-0 off Bournemouth at home.
But this Manchester United team should. 4-0.
Slow sports news. Evening, guys. Hope you're well today. Bournemouth took a leaf out of Newcastle's book and knew exactly how to close us down and press with intent. Spot on super chat there. Gigs 14. Can we all agree to stop playing Shaw as centre back? Martin Saunders says majority of these players just aren't good enough. We buy marquee shirt selling moment players for years. We need consistent good players, not just great moment players. Darren Mulaney says, I think now it's time for Jim Ratcliffe to go and get the Brighton manager. Yellow bathing suit. The Dallo hype needs to stop. He's so average, my goodness. Hash says Beth Bruno took the card on purpose, was obvious. I don't believe that for a second, but you can have your own opinion. Zayn Mohammed says that, guys, I think when Bruno has a bad game, we don't score. We lack creativity. We should sign players that we can create, like Isco, free Varane. Benoit Cooley says team has been rubbish for years. And Chris says the main record is Ten Hag's taking more points in his first 53 games than any other Man United manager in history, and only second ever to Pep. Cody Ricardo's thank you for the super chat. Ariona says if he's Eric Ten Hag out, he needs to have a backup plan. Sayomi Coley, member for 15 months, get rid of the Glazers, otherwise goes to a psychiatrist. Professionally pessimistic says quickest manager to 50 wins is Eric Ten Hag. Sam Conboy says, when are people going to realise that changing the manager isn't going to change a thing? Frustrating performances across the board. The Ripper said 6% more teabags used at half-time than Sealy since Eric Ten Hag. I don't get that. Rubber Duck says, I mean, who comes in if Eric Ten Hag goes out? Who would we even want to fix this utterly mentally weak team? Would the coach think it's worth their time? Lol Too Hard says, Klopp got 8 years till he became successful. Not weak players his first thing. Obviously, these lot ain't it. Back the manager. International 2675, hope that the Shaw delusion at centre-back versus typical centre-forwards is over. And then we've got so many more coming in, but I'll have to read them in a second because we've got to kind of move throughout the show. So thank you, everyone, for your super chats. I know everyone's really frustrated. I mean, Faz, I'll come to you. A lot of people are saying, it's Eric Ten Hag needs time and it's just not the right thing to sack him. Who else to get in? And I get people that are saying that. I understand their point of view. But also at the same time, is it not just the basics in-game management that's going wrong that you can't overlook?
We've been saying about in-game management on forums for weeks now. Even when we first time called it out early on in the season, people said, oh, what are you talking about? It's the players. Then they said it's the injuries. Then they said it's the congestion of games. Football players have abilities that managers need to be able to get out of them. Kieran Trippier was a really good player, and then he went to Atletico Madrid. He went up levels. And now he's in Newcastle, he's going up even more levels. Players can be taught things. It's not like you just buy a product and then place it and it just works. It doesn't happen. And it's the same thing where if we buy Todibo, if we buy Victor Osimhen, Harry Kane, you just place them in and it doesn't mean it'll work. You still have to get the team to teach them, okay, we have Harry Kane, we have X player, this is how we're supposed to play. It's just not evident. You don't see it in any lineup. The one odd game that we see a good performance and we can sit here and use that for our confidence, why can't the manager use that to build on the team? His two only best performances, Palace and Chelsea, he's not been able to build on it. This is baffling. The team comes out sleeping after half time. It comes out worse after half time than it did at start of the game. I don't get it. Why? It's and the thing with fans ask me or us, who do you want next, is the same reason why you don't have a clue who would come in next anyways. Because they didn't have this answer when Ole came in, Mourinho came in, Van Gaal came in, Moyes came in. We didn't know. We're just fans. Whoever comes in, it's their job to turn the ship around. That's the job of a manager, is to turn the ship around. If you want to be patient based on simply time, it's because you don't want to repeat the cycle. That's why. But nobody can sit here and say, oh, another manager isn't going to get more out of any player, because you don't know. Nobody knows that for a fact anyways.
But do you think these players can break this cycle?
But what players did Mourinho and Ole have when they came second? How good were those players? How good was that squad? How good was the squad when Mourinho won the Europa League? Mourinho was still sacked. He was still getting awful results. Van Gaal still got sacked. What squad did he have when he won the FA Cup? Erik ten Hag won the Carabao Cup. What squad does he have if he gets sacked? It's the same thing. We have to go forward. Managers come here, they have a little bit of stint performance, win something, they just go backwards. It's not good enough. Whether you blame the board, now the owners, it's an organisational thing anyways. And the only thing we can speak on is the manager, because the owners are not going anywhere, are they? We sit here and say Glazers out every single day. There's no Glazer. Did you see any Glazer out banners today? I didn't see any in the Stretford.
I saw one, but that was nearly away fans.
You know how they used to chant, if you hate Glazer, stand up? Yeah,
You tried it once. You sang it once. And
there you go then. Thank you very much.
It's all died down.
Thank you. It's died down. It's absolutely died down. It just doesn't work, and the manager's not getting the most out of the players. We've been saying in-game management, and people are only realising now.
The problem I'm having, Kev, and I'll come to you on this, I feel like Faz is obviously, one side of the coin. There's other people that are like giving time. I feel like I'm in the middle here, because I wouldn't say Erik ten Hag out yet. I wouldn't. But at the same time, I am very frustrated, because people say, he needs time, which I absolutely think, a lot of managers do need time. And I think Erik ten Hag, I keep saying to myself, he needs time. But the problem is, I'm seeing mistakes that aren't due to needing time. And they're just silly mistakes. Anybody in the crowd today could see certain things that needed changing. And we've seen this throughout the season now. The in-game management is not good. Certain games it's good. Against Chelsea, brilliant. Brilliant from the players. Erik ten Hag did well. But too often than not this season, too many times, has the wrong decisions in-game been made. We're seeing reactionary subs instead of proactive subs. Yeah. That's the problem. Today, he's just letting things run until it's too late. And they're the issues I'm having, because anybody, I'm sure you guys at home could see that Shaw and Reguilon were getting overturned. Anybody could see Amrabat was being left for dead in the midfield on his own. Anybody could see that Garnacho was getting completely swamped with 3 players around him. What does that mean? There's space somewhere else. Utilise it. None of these things got exposed by the manager. And that's the issue I'm having, because time doesn't change that.
Yeah. You have to identify the threat on the field and adapt and make changes to that. I said earlier, one of my criticisms of Ten Hag is he's not reacting to certain situations, and he's not done that today. Ultimately, the sad thing is that if we continue getting bad results, I firmly believe that the rest of the season there'll be more results like that, and against better teams as well. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but I'm talking when we have to play the likes of Man City. Obviously, Liverpool are coming up. We're going back to the kind of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days where we're going to get an absolute hiding, embarrassed. Ten Hag needs to react to certain situations. He isn't doing that, and ultimately it will cost him his job, and he'll have nobody really to blame. I know he can look at the players, and people like me have sat on here and said that the players need to have a long look in the mirror at themselves. Where's your pride, professionalism? You're wearing the shirt, and yes, but Ten Hag as well. He has to be held accountable. This man is he's picking the team, putting players out, and he can influence the game. He could have influenced the game today. He didn't. Left it far too late, and United get beat.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about the manager. We'll talk about some individual players as well. I mean, starting off with Anthony Martial, Double A, you said before about, how his performance wasn't good. I'm going to be honest. I know I'm talking a lot, but I feel like I have to say it. I've got absolutely slandered on Twitter for this. Martial gets scapegoated left, right and centre. Everyone's saying, Anthony Martial, why has he started Martial? Martial's the reason we're losing this game. Martial was not good. He was not good today. He's not been good for years. He shouldn't be at the club. We know this. We know this facts. He wasn't worse than McTominay. Wasn't worse than I mean, I could name so many players on that pitch. He was poor, so was everybody else. Hojlund came on, Hojlund did well, bless him, has nothing to go off. But we can see 2 goals with Hojlund on the pitch, 1 goal with Martial on the pitch. It doesn't make a difference. People are scapegoating Martial for us losing that game. When, okay, yeah, he wasn't good, but Ten Hag couldn't start Hojlund because of load management, and Martial, the players around him are terrible as well. Yet why is he the only one being scapegoated?
I think he's an easy victim, isn't he, for any kind of blame. I said it's hard to really focus on one player and talk about performances, because as a collective, every single player dropped a 0 for me today. I mean, you could talk about Maguire playing well, but it's almost like saying the band played really well when the Titanic was sinking. It means absolutely nothing at all, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So genuinely, it doesn't mean much in a 4-0 loss. I just think Martial, like, he's been here so long and there was so much expected of him. Now he's a shadow of his former self, and he's never going to be the player that we once saw a couple of years ago. But the worst thing for me is, as a number 9, why is he dropping so deep? I mean, we have McTominay, who seems to be that advancing midfielder now. Bruno is already a number 10. We've got 2 wide players. I don't need my number 9 to drop down and down. But get into the space, get into where the players can find you in the box and try and score some goals. And he doesn't look comfortable on the ball. Saw him slipping over too many times. I just really wish he could move on, and we can move on from him, because I don't think he offers much in the team at all as an attacking threat. For me, he had 1 weak shot, I remember. I just think his time at the club has to come to an end.
The major issue at United, and it has not changed, this is a running theme at Manchester United, is when we're not on it, and far too many times in too many games, you look at top teams, you can afford to have 1 or 2 players who are not performing, and you can react to that and bring on 1 or 2 subs. But when we're off it, you're talking like 8 or 9, maybe even 10 players are just totally, it's like a virus that spreads through the team, and everybody's off it. And for me, there is nobody to kind of try and step it up, because everyone is just so, this has happened under previous managers. Yes, there's still, the same kind of players are in this squad, but it happens far too often. And when you've got players that are not performing, and you're talking about dropping 0s in this game, but I'm talking about players that are really underperforming. It's like 7 or 8 players,
All the team,
yeah, the full team. Not 1 or 2 where he can go, and you can identify that. Let's say like a Man City, if Grealish isn't playing well, they'll just bring him off. But the majority of the team are performing at a great level. We just do not do that.
So I mean, it's like, that's why I had to say something about the scapegoating, because there's so many slandering him. I get it, right? I get it, but everyone was terrible.
They're fed up of it.
It wasn't just one player, and it's like people.
And if
it's
it
like
was,
the whole. This is the thing. The
bring him
whole
off.
the crowd cheered him off, booed him off, whatever. Hojlund, come on, everyone was buzzing. Hojlund's good, a good player. He's got a future. It's not much different to Martial. Not that much. We still didn't score. We still conceded 2 goals. Like Hojlund, I think has got much better potential, and I think he's a better starter in this team. He presses better.
He'll press better, yeah.
His work rate is better, and I just think he's more agile. He's a better striker for this team. There's no doubts about that. But people are acting as if it's like night and day.
I think, well, for me personally, I think it was. If you look at his cameo, there was more endeavour, there was more bravery, he looked more lively, he looked more
Hold-up play was better.
Hold-up play, he wanted to,
Just
he's driving into the box. You talk about the low chance. He's driving into the box, he's looking to score. With Martial,
he's better, 100%.
With Martial, it's just all passive. The game he's just a passenger. And you don't get that with Hojlund. When he comes on, he's wanting to contribute to the team, whereas Martial is trying, but he doesn't look like the effort is there. And that's been a criticism of his whole career as a Manchester United player. But I get what you're saying. It doesn't matter who comes in, they're all going to look poor, and invariably everyone does, and you all have to hold their hands up and say as a collective we were terrible today. But
that's what I mean. Hojlund came on at 1-0. Do you know what I mean? We still so in that game.
Yeah.
And we lose the game 3-0, could have been 4. So it didn't really make a difference. Even though I think he's better, it doesn't really make a difference. Tell you who was the best striker on that pitch, Dominic Solanke.
Yeah. Can I say? Look, we set out the game, and in the build-up, I was saying Erik ten Hag has changed the way he plays because he doesn't play a high line anymore, and the keeper doesn't come out. How can a 15th position Bournemouth defend the ball so well, and in transition look like every ball is going to the player from defence straight to the front line? How? What are you telling me about Bournemouth's manager and Bournemouth's team? You're telling me Bournemouth's starting 11 is better than Manchester United starting 11 on paper. Not one person can say that. They might have a better striker, sure. They might have some players who are a bit more confident because of their run. But if you're really using your brain and you're thinking, the reason why they're doing that is because they've understood we are not going to press them like the way, because they've seen Martial, Garnacho and Anthony. They know that our players are susceptible to one, losing the ball. Garnacho loses the ball, let's be honest, as much as we love him. Anthony loses the ball, players slip, wingers just slipping everywhere for some absurd reason, right? And they know once we get the ball, we'll just have to... How many times did they go over the top and the ball is like one touch and they're in? On a weird transition from one touch, it turns into a dangerous attack for them. But whereas for us, we almost have to pass the ball around and we don't have enough quality on the ball to pass the ball around to create a chance. Every time we got to Bournemouth's final third of the pitch, you see there's just a little bit edge that's missing to create that final chance to get a shot on goal. At one point, Martial had a left foot shot that was just rolling to the keeper. It seemed like that was the only chance we could create. We're not flooding the box with chances. We're not crossing the ball quick enough. When we need to cross, we're taking an extra touch. It's almost hesitation football. Eric is seeing this on the sideline. I am seeing this on the side. You're all seeing this. You have to tell your team, let's control the game before they grow on confidence. I keep saying this week in, week out. Don't let teams gain confidence in game. They might not create chances, but the fact they're gaining confidence gives them... Look, one of the wingers, is it, who got a yellow card, right? As he's walking to the corner kick, right?
Tavernier, yeah.
Gone and taken corner kick. That corner kick was a really good one, nearly a goal, and they keep building on those set pieces from there on and then on and then on. We're not making the game uncomfortable for them. They're in our ground. They're making the game uncomfortable for us. They've clearly realised Sofian Amrabat doesn't like getting pressed. Have you noticed? They realise. So when you see that,
I've realised it 2 minutes
so
in.
yeah. So when you see that as a manager, that they've clearly identified one of my players, I'm going to make sure I give him an extra bit of protection, because every time he's dropped in to receive the ball and he's trying to carry it, he's getting pressed. He's going backwards. It's not helping us. So you're pushing a midfielder deeper. You tell Bruno or McTominay, someone hold in, help him out, receive the ball so he doesn't get pressed. In-game tactics. I don't have any badges or anything, and I can tell you that the fans see it, but it's a process, right?
I'm going to throw this one out here, but this is a question I asked myself under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Rangnick, whatever, but what is United's style of play? If you're an opposition manager or team or opposition fan and Manchester United are rocking up at your stadium, wherever it is, you know, in the past it was, you knew what was coming from Manchester United, but this minute in time, I'm back at this point where I thought Ten Hag would have implemented some style of play.
Saw it against Chelsea. The unfortunate thing today
you see
is...
bits.
I think I saw the outline at Chelsea, but the unfortunate thing today is a super chat, So Sports News, what they said was absolutely dead on. Bournemouth knew how to get us. They did the same as Newcastle. They pressed us. They were more aggressive than us. They were into everything quicker than us, and they didn't allow us to come out of our own box. And they didn't allow us to play them triangles that we like to play. They were onto us. Dalot, McTominay, and Anthony on that side. They got swarmed every time. Same with Garnacho. We had like 3 players on him. Them triangle on the left-hand side with Reguilon is nowhere near as good as Shaw is. Shaw was playing centre-back. Bruno and Garnacho swarming us in the midfield. Obviously, Onana's been told to play it into Amrabat. Amrabat turn, spread it out to the width, start it from there. They swarmed Amrabat, so he couldn't do anything. They completely stopped us. And we're so weak as a team. We're weak. And the worst thing about it is, and I'm going on a rant here, but 2-0 down, we're still in the game. And I said to the person next to me at Old Trafford, I said, how funny, do you remember Liverpool were 2-0 down to Fulham? They came back and won it 3-2 in the last 10 minutes. Yep. I said, Liverpool would turn this round and go and win it 3-2. I could walk out of here now and I could put my life on it. There's no way Man United are winning this game 3-2, because you can tell. You can tell by the body language, you can tell by the attitude, you can tell everything. And Bournemouth can sense it too. Yeah. Everyone in the stadium knows, and that's embarrassing. It really is. Neither
Amrabat or McTominay are going to, make a half turn and carry the ball forward. Be deadly honest. How many times did you see Onana use his left foot to pass the ball to Garnacho over the top, and Garnacho, poor lad, is struggling to try and bring the ball down? You try the same thing with Anthony. He's struggling to bring the ball down. We don't have players that can bring the ball down from the air. So what's the point of you kicking it long? He's kicking it long because he's getting pressed. He's getting pressed again and again. How many times did you see Luke Shaw pass the ball to Onana whilst he's in the box? Yeah. Because they're getting pressed. You're seeing this as a manager. and yet you're not able to fix something. Kobe Mino is there. He's the only player in the whole of Man United squad that could make a half turn and carry the ball forward, yet you've decided not to play him.
It's also bravery as well, Kev, because you think about it, McTominay had an absolute shocker of a performance today. And everyone was terrible. He had a shocker. Yeah. He couldn't string a pass together, honestly. And it's like, sometimes as a manager, you've got to make brave decisions. McTominay's being left on the pitch because he can score a goal. I get that. I get that point. But sometimes you've just got to make the brave decision is, how is the team going to play better? I'm going to take McTominay off, I'm going to put Mainu in there. Hopefully we'll give us some more control, get some possession going, and hopefully that'll lead to more chances. Sometimes you've got to be brave and not do the obvious. McTominay, brilliant performance. We sung his praises on the forum after the Chelsea game. Insane performance. Today, he barely string a pass together, and nothing was coming off. And looked like we were down to just one in midfield at some points, because Bruno started doing headless chicken thing as soon as things started to go to pot as well. And it's like, Ten Hag needs to see these. He needs to make brave decisions.
And that's where, I mean, you mentioned Faz Mourinho. You think of prime Mourinho, even if it 15, 20 minutes into a game, if he didn't like what he'd see, he's changing it, even if you have to bring somebody off, which as a player is totally demoralising. But at the same time, the manager, you want the 3 points, so you have to react to these situations, don't you? Big managers will do that. And I'm not saying that Erik ten Hag's not a big manager. You know, he's at Manchester United, but again, it's decisions like this, or lack of decisions.
Can I ask you, do you think Garnacho played a good game?
Today?
Yeah. I don't think he had a good game. Martial's not having a good game. But the only player we have in our front line that could hold up the ball in tight areas is Anthony Martial, whether he's having a good game or not. Move him to the left, put Rasmus in the middle. You want to throw the kitchen sink, really throw it. And show the fans that you're going to try and get a goal. Yeah. What did you see today? At what point, at any point did you see him trying to think that, okay, I'm going to try and get a goal? Even the goal that Bruno Fernandes gave to Maguire and then Maguire to McTominay and he got a goal and he was like, okay, throw the sink at it, just try and get a last-minute winner. We could say, you know what, okay, smash and grab, we'll take it. We'll take the points. But did you see at any point today, Beth, anyone, any point, that he was trying to get a goal out of that game? Any changes? Because the way the team is playing, even in the latter stage of the second half, I don't see it.
No, you used to see sort of 4 attackers come on off, 4 strikers will be on the pitch. You know, you drop to three defenders. Yeah. He brings Johnny Evans on, and then it's like what you're trying to do, maintain what's happening. Right. It makes absolutely no sense. And
even stood there, Donny van der Beek up at one stage, and then told him to sit back down.
This is the problem. Like Beth said, Tommy had a bad game. No, we had a McTominay midfield game, and this is what you expect from Scott McTominay in the midfield. He's not going to offer you anything as a midfielder. And when Faz mentions Amrabat being pressed and needing help, Scott McTominay is not that person for you. He's clearly, we found what he's good at, and that is arriving late in the box to score some goals. I don't even get mad at Scott McTominay when he puts in performances like that in midfield, because that's the type of player that he is. He's not going to...
But how can you, from Wednesday night, you know, to even let's just say Amrabat,
because he was advanced. He was advanced. He wasn't playing as a midfielder, and because that midfield was so open, because the midfield was so open on Wednesday night against Chelsea, and let's not be honest, like they were playing 2 passes and they were on goal. If we'd have played a better team on Wednesday night, the way we played against Chelsea, we get beat. The chances they had, they should have scored 3 or 4 goals as well as us. So this is why I didn't jump on the back of Wednesday thinking this team have turned the corner. I saw it in isolation of we've played a team worse than us and come out on top in that game. I knew as soon as we play someone good, someone who believes what they're being told by the manager, which Bournemouth are, fantastic team. I'd rather talk about them today because I think they were unbelievable in how they played. As soon as we play someone good,
play somebody half decent,
we're fucking shit. We're terrible.
Man City, Arsenal, Brighton, you know,
it's
well,
so
even
bad.
Bournemouth now.
It's so bad.
Coaching. It's not the players.
No, it's
coaching the players.
It's everything. The players have to take responsibility.
Well.
Did you hear his press conference? What he said? His press conference. They asked him, what changed? What's clicked? Is it that the players finally understood your ethos? Is it that some players have come back? He said, no, it's a mixture of things. But it took time for the players to get it. But what players does he have?
It's not.
Which players of his get into our team other than Dominic Solanke? It's
not Ten Hag's fault today that McTominay, Amrabat, Reguilon, Luke Shaw were all shit.
You can name 11. You can name all 11.
But he's in a position where if he doesn't like what he sees, I'm making a change. You know, it's Scott. You were brilliant on Wednesday, whatever, but you are, you know, stinking the place out. You're off. He has to be more ruthless. You know, he needs to really grow a backbone here, big time, because we saw what happened to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
People talk about his coaching and everything like that, but I think Ten Hag is going to kill himself the most with his stubbornness and his willingness to not change what he's doing. And if he doesn't do that, so you can talk about the players throwing him under the bus and revolting all you want. At the end of the day, he'll hang himself in his job.
He has to get a grip of that. All these stories, whether it's true or not, leaks coming out the dressing room.
I'm really worried, guys, about the basic decisions that he's just not getting. He's just not getting it. Honestly, I've said give him time. I've said he's not going to change, and I still would give him time, and I still would stay in. It's going to be a very interesting week with Bayern Munich and Liverpool coming up. But what really worries me for him, because I think behind the scenes with the culture and the standards thing, I think he's spot on that side of things. But what worries me for him is the basic things that he's just not doing, and he's missing.
Highline football to this low block with Harry Maguire.
But at the same time, if I'm Ten Hag, you seen him stood at the end looking out that them players. He must be thinking, I can't believe this is happening. After Wednesday, you know, decent performance. He's more or less kept the same team, probably thinking you all deserve it. I'm going to keep, you know, with a strong team. You all deserve another run out today. It's just a huge slap in the face, I think, to be given a lack of performance again.
I think he's got himself overconfident. You talk about his press conference and saying he's talking as if it's all clicked, it's all come together on such a small sample size. How can after one result against a poor Chelsea team?
No, I was talking about the Bournemouth manager. Because he's had a run of games.
Right. Yeah, I think Ten Hag clearly thought everything. Well, it looks like he thought everything has finally clicked with this team. Where we know, when we watch them every single week, we know exactly what they're doing. They're so far away from resembling a cohesive unit. Never mind, they still look like 11 individuals on the pitch. I don't see anything to make me think they're playing for each other, never mind the manager.
Do you want to know what Ten Hag said? By the way, guys, I brought this out because I wanted to say, that's Bournemouth today. That Christmas tree there. Yeah. This is Man United. It's honestly,
that is a Glazer tree if ever I've seen it. And it's like, yeah, we've got the tree, but we couldn't afford to put any decorations on it.
But that tree cost us 400 million and that tree cost us 10 quid. Yeah.
Well, we've got Ten Hag said, I've got to take responsibility for it. We are really inconsistent. I understand fans are disappointed, frustrated. We all are, but we should do better, and we have to show it every game, not to have so big levels from one game to another. Basically saying levels have completely dropped off for Chelsea, but there's so many things that could have helped that game. There really are. I've got a few super chats in that I'll read out. Well, there's a load of super chats. I'm sorry if I can't get through them all. But we have Sammy saying, will we see players clear out in January? We need a change. We need a statement to scare these players. Tony Miles says, can't believe we lost at home to Bournemouth. And we've got KLVN saying the tactics are too individual reliant. Shatish says Sir Alex Ferguson changed tactics and line up against different teams. Eric Ten Hag plays the same way against all the teams. His in-game management is terrible. I don't think we do play the same way against all teams, to be honest with you. But Jacob Jackson says legit would keep about 5 players: Manu, Hojlund, Garnacho, Bruno, Shaw. Shane Day says manager is a problem. CR7, Sancho, Varane. Poor man management for start. In-game management is poor. If he lost the players, that's his fault too. Raymond says the pressure has to be on the players, not the manager. As soon as the players notice the pressure is on the manager, it's only going to get worse. They are not going to run any harder. I'm backing Eric Ten Hag 100%. Anthony Tracy says goals has been Eric Ten Hag's problem. Look at our goal difference. He sold Ronaldo, bought Anthony to take Sancho's place, bought Hojlund, 9 goals in Italy, Weghorst. Malga says, remember everyone said David was the problem. Paul D, member for 22 months. We need goalkeepers. Anana is not good enough. He was bad. He scares me today. Alex says we have a striker, but we are not utilising his attributes. Instead, he is used as a decoy like Weghorst. Amy says, irrespective of the manager, there isn't a single player in the squad who can be part of a title-winning squad. Liverpool have Salah, Alisson, who rescued their game today. We have nobody. Tillerman says, Ten Hag can do what? Not a manager out there that fixes this. And Lil Too Hard says, think Bruno intentionally got that yellow. Luke, I don't think he did. Luke Hales, Anthony, so one-footed, cannot cross crap. Malga says Eric Ten Hag added to the problems with bad signings like Anana and Mart, along with ego driving out accomplished players like Varane, Ronaldo and David. Raviv says useless, and look at Villa, cost half the side, our side with the players are useless. And CJ says, I've been saying we don't provide for Hojlund whipping balls in willy-nilly and actually finding number 9 disgraceful. Move on to a few more super chats the more we go into the show. But, God, I'm really suffering with a cold, guys. I'm going to have to go and get myself a tissue in a second. But just talk about, where does Erik ten Hag go from here? We've got Bayern Munich, we've got Liverpool. Like, what is he going to do to make a difference?
I think, well, Manchester United, we perform somewhat better against bigger teams. It's almost like the occasion kind of gets us motivated. But funny enough, we performed well against bottom half of the table, but now Bournemouth changed that. I think Bournemouth and Palace have changed that now, haven't they? But look, I said this to Beth in the build-up show, that I'm not motivated for the Bayern game. Because no matter what the result, obviously us winning, let's say, we still have to be dependent on someone else's and be fingers crossed, you know, and I don't like that. I'd rather play and know that if we win this game, then yes, we can do it. Whereas if we win this game, we still have to pray for someone else's downfall or someone else winning something. Or I think drawing, they have to draw, right? Yeah. Which is a absurd results in itself, because both of those teams are going to want to win. So it's a very tough one. So Bayern, I have zero motivation for, and Bayern are on top. They never rest players. They're not going to rest players. No. Bayern fans will not like their manager if they decide to turn around and rest players against Manchester United.
They got absolutely spanked today as well. I think it was 5-1 Bayern Munich. Frankfurt, they were getting beat 5-1 at one stage anyway.
They got absolutely battered, I think.
See, it happens to everyone, guys, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I think with Ten Hag at the moment, these next two fixtures, I think it's a case of just trying not to get humiliated. I think the way you can talk about confidence being built on Wednesday, but after this, I assume the confidence must be on the floor of these players.
It's
now.
the team that we're playing in the Premier League, but you look at Liverpool, Anfield. This has happened before, hasn't it?
They'll have 7-0 in there.
Manager has lost at this ground. You know, it was an absolute disgrace, and that was the end of the road. I hope it's not. I really don't want it to.
I want to quickly have a conversation on our fullback situation. Faz, we had a discussion about us needing top class fullbacks and us not having that. Do you agree with me now that we probably definitely need a top class right back, and Reguilon is definitely not the answer?
Well,
as a second choice left back.
Well, you said Reguilon contract tops.
After 3 games, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, sorry, my mic's off. My mic's off. Sorry, guys. What I was basically just saying then is I turned my mic.
I'm glad that people didn't hear that.
What I was saying is fullbacks for me are a massive issue. We don't have a top class right back, which you were saying, you know, Dallow's good enough, and I think Dallow's a good player, but he's just not good enough top level. It's just, in my opinion. And then left back, you were saying, you know, I was saying Reguilon potentially contract talks. Hold my hands up. He had a couple good games, and I thought, you know, I didn't say contract talks. I said if he carries on this way, then yeah, he hasn't carried on this way. He's been terrible. So
he's shown what he is.
Absolutely no chance.
Reguilon's
he's not good enough.
He's not good enough for Tottenham. But all of a sudden, we'll take him on loan. Same with Vegas. You know, at Burnley, he couldn't even get in the Burnley team. But we'll take him.
Oh, here's one for you. Sorry, we'll talk about. Ricky told me to read this out. We'll talk about the fullback situation. We'll carry on. But Ricky told me to read this out. This is from Ricky. It's not from me. It's from Ricky. He said, this is about the team, not individuals, it's about our creativity. Last season, Weghorst played 797 minutes in the Premier League and didn't score a goal. He was ridiculed at times. Why bring him on? And comments like that. Hojlund's overtaken the amount of minutes he's played today with no Premier League goal, yet people obviously big Hojlund up. Obviously there's difference in age and experience and, you know, the qualities they bring, but...
If Dalot gets his head up today and makes the right decision, Hojlund's got his first Premier League goal, he's tapping that in.
If any of the wide players look for Hojlund or look for the striker, you saw it on Wednesday, I think it was one from Garnacho, or it might have been Reguilon, just not looking for him at all, or just play poor crosses. I've never, saying to Greg earlier, like on Wednesday, just before McTominay scored the second goal, I was literally about to tweet, I've never met a collection of footballers who can't cross the ball as badly as this team. I don't know what it is about this team that they can't.
Fullbacks need to be providing.
This isn't a recent thing, because it always blew my mind.
He's the only one.
We had Ronaldo at United, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we never played to his strength. You're talking about one of the best headers in world football. I used to say it all the time, and we never put a ball in the box. I remember him scoring against Tottenham from a corner, direct from a corner. And you kind of look at it and you think, why are we not launching a few balls in it? You know, he's absolutely unreal, Ronaldo. But again, it comes down to service.
Do you know what, as well? Rashford's actually good at crossing, but he just never does it. He always shoots. Rashford's a good crosser. Garnacho can do a good cross. Bruno on his day, but he's so hit and miss, it's unbelievable. But you look at all the top teams in the league and how much the fullbacks provide.
They almost walk the ball into the net.
You lose that so much with Shaw at centre-back. And then
I'll be honest with you, I don't even think Shaw is all that, you know. I would get 4 new fullbacks. I think there's upgrades on Luke Shaw. I think
Shaw's better.
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think listen, Luke Shaw, when he plays well, when he has them seasons, he's fantastic. But I think, again, consistency for me, he lacks that. And I think you know, you look at the big teams, how many would he get in? Do you know what I mean? And I think I would look eventually for an upgrade on him. I'd like him in the squad. I think he can be the backup, but I think we do need potentially 4 new fullbacks.
You know what I was just going to say. It's a testament to Ronaldo for the goals that he got in Manchester United, considering how the team play at that age as well. The amount of goals that he got.
It was more impressive,
and thinking about it now, because we thought Rasmus would bring more pressing, more energy. Yeah. And it's not me to go back on whatever, but it's just, like I say, a testament, because he created so much by himself, scoring from outside the box and scoring crazy goals.
I agree with that
as well. Speaking on the full-backs, I don't want Manchester United to buy any more players under this manager. He has to do better with the players he's got. He's bought players, and his players, some of them are injured, some of them have load management issues, and the players that he's got, who've got ability, he's still not managing get anything out of them.
But Faz, I'll come back.
I can't back that anymore.
First thing I want to say is, I just want to go back on the fact, I can't believe he said Luke Shaw's not a good enough left back to play long term. He said one bad game at centre.
No, not one bad game. Not left back, right? So you talk about him being a great crosser and all that. What in the 10 years he's been here, almost, he's got 9 assists. Is it? You know, what are you wanting from your fullback? We're talking about crosses.
Yeah,
it's just he doesn't create enough. Then
I think he does personally. I think the assist thing doesn't tell the full
I think he's
story.
a good defender. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good defender.
There's so many times I've seen Luke Shaw get a cross in the box and people have missed it, or they've overhit it, or I've seen so many times he should have got assists. I think the assist thing, okay, it's a valid point, but for me, I'm watching the football with my eyes, and I know.
I don't get it. He's a great athlete. He's a great athlete, and I can say he's a good defender. But I think long term, he's not a title-winning fullback. If that's where Manchester United want to be,
disagree.
He's the
best left back in the league.
He's not the best left back. Nathan Ake is better than him at fullback, and he's not even a legit fullback.
He's not.
He is.
He's not.
Nathan Ake is a better defender.
If you put Luke Shaw in that team, he would be brilliant. I think it's brilliant, by the way, but I rate Luke Shaw very highly.
I can clearly see that. Yeah.
You want the wind-up here?
No, I'm being genuine. Listen, the thing I like to class myself as a realist, as a Manchester United fan. I don't. Luke Shaw's been here for almost 10 years, and he's not good.
You could put Kevin De Bruyne in this team for 10 years, and everyone would be saying he was poor.
No chance. Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the
league. He is. I know he is. I know Kevin De Bruyne is 100% the best midfielder in the league.
I guarantee you, Kevin De Bruyne.
Put Kevin De Bruyne in this team for 10 years, nothing would change.
It would. He would get more goals with Kevin De Bruyne in this team. Let me tell you.
It's the same reason why I said don't get any more players. We just ruin players.
Under the structure, I agree with you, because it's clear he's working off second and third choice signings, Ten Hag, in a lot of ways. 100% he is. He didn't. Rasmus wasn't his first choice. It was Harry Kane. Onana wasn't his first choice. It was Kim Min-jae. He's had to pivot and go and get a keeper.
Don't forget, there's Robertson as well, who's a very good player.
Robertson's brilliant.
I think he's better. I think Tsimikas is better than Luke Shaw.
Leave.
100% he is.
Leave.
100% he is.
Oh my! Please.
100% he is. 100% he is.
I can't cope.
How many assists does Luke Shaw have from crosses?
I cannot cope.
How many assists does Luke Shaw have from crosses?
9 assists in 10 years.
I can't take somebody seriously who's saying Tsimikas is better.
So you just complained about crosses. How many assists does he have from crosses?
Right. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm watching football with my eyes.
And so are we.
I'm seeing what he gives me forward and backwards.
And you just said we need to cross.
I watch him.
You don't think Luke Shaw is better than Tsimikas?
I am simply trying to unpack your process so I can understand it better. I think he's a good player, very good player. I love his left foot.
I'm not saying he's not good.
I love his left foot.
No, I'm not.
I just think
because I think there's players better than him. who could offer us better going forward and defending.
Tsimikas is a good player, but to say he's better than Shaw is ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous at all. To say he's the best left back in the league, to me, is the wildest thing in the world.
He's the best left back in
the wildest thing in the world. Nathan Ake is better than him. I take Nathan Ake all day long.
Nathan Ake is a very good player. I still think Luke Shaw's better. I mean, we can agree to disagree on it, but
I think we'll have to.
But it's for me.
I
feel like you're getting on the back of a really poor performance.
No, genuinely, it's because I'm genuinely
Nobody
not
actually thinks that. Yeah,
I'm genuinely not. I've said it for a long time about Luke Shaw, and listen, I did a video about it, and one thing I wanted from him was consistency, because him, Rashford, are these players that lack consistency to do it season after season. We saw Luke Shaw be brilliant last season because Malacia was challenging him, and he got his new contract and everything. Rosy again, but then he gets injured. Fair enough, it's injury, but I'm basing it off the sample size of since he's been at the club. Injuries have played a massive part, but for me, he's far too inconsistent, and I don't think he's as great going forward as what everyone says. I like him, don't get me wrong, but I think if we want to become Manchester United again, the Manchester United we all know and love, and challenge for titles and be one of the best teams in the world again, I don't think Luke Shaw can be the starting left-back to do that, for me personally.
I just think if you put some of the left-backs you'd named in this team, they'd get found out. This team's terrible.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, absolutely. But I'm saying if we had a good team, I think there's better left-backs that can come in that can offer more. And that's why you can see the Liverpool fans are calling for Tsimikas to start over Robertson, because he's played better than Robertson over the last season especially. And they're looking like they could challenge and win the league this year. So for me, if he can play for a title challenging team, I don't think Luke Shaw can play for Liverpool. Not at all.
You don't think Luke Shaw could play for Liverpool?
Not as a starting left back, no chance.
Oh, he absolutely could.
No chance.
He absolutely
could. Let's move on. Let's move on from this, because it was just going to go around in circles.
We can agree to disagree on that, but I'm not being. I think the players you named is good, but I just can't.
They're great.
I can't.
To be fair, they're great. Robertson is fantastic.
Excellent. Luke Shaw's technically excellent. He's
good. He's very good.
Physical. He drives. Yeah. He's great on the ball. He's a leader in my opinion. He had a bad game today, but I can't.
Inconsistency and his lack of creativity.
But anyway, let's move on. Got a few super chats to bring up quickly. Watermelon Man says, why Martial before Hojlund? Why Luke Shaw before Varane at centre back? Man United is a shifty team. I can't leave for some reason. It's really hard and heartbreaking. And United Nate says, Beth, what does Luke Shaw do? Get your eyes checked. My eyes are checked and they're working just fine. Luke Shaw is a brilliant player. I'm not going to back down on that. Grace Sheridan says, stop with the favouritism. Brad Lewis says, Bruno, McTominay, Maguire, Martial all have to go. Jimmy Kelly, super chat in. Sammy says, will we see a players clear out in January? Thank you, people, for your super chats. Let's finish off the show. We're talking a little bit about the game ahead against Bayern Munich. Against Bayern Munich, do you make changes? What changes do you make?
Yeah, I make changes to the tactical board that he's got. That's the changes, and the equipment, and the coaching equipment that he's using, whatever he's using, because that ain't working, is it? No. One game good, one game bad. And you know what? Funny enough, we might even perform well against Bayern, because now we have a bit of motivation to go and do something. Because we've just had an abysmal, record-breaking performance today.
We've just got to go out, and we know we have to win. Yeah. And like you said earlier, it's just a shame it's not in our hands. We're relying on the other game, Copenhagen, Galatasaray being a draw, which is annoying, but bloody hell, I wouldn't put it past Manchester United,
to nick a win.
Yeah, well, it'd just be absolutely typical of United to go out, beat Bayern Munich. Maybe the other result will go for us.
So, if I'm not mistaken, can someone please clarify? If we beat Bayern and Galatasaray win, we're still out. Mm-hmm. If we beat Bayern and Copenhagen win, we're in Europa.
Oh.
So in what scenario do we end up in Europa, and what scenario do we end up out? I know we end up out if we don't win and they draw.
So we're on 4 points, aren't we? And Galatasaray are on 6. Is it 6?
I'll have a quick look. I'll have a quick look. While I'm having a quick look, people in the chat are saying favouritism for not talking about Bruno. So I'm going to talk about Bruno. I mean, what are your guys' opinions on Bruno?
Really poor. I didn't like it. There was just no creativity from him.
It's not favouritism. It's just the whole team are poor. Every player was poor.
Individualising doesn't really
We'd
work.
be here for hours. We had to talk about everyone that was rubbish.
No, it's because we defend some of these players. People want to feel like we also should speak out on them publicly. I get it.
We haven't got enough time to talk about every single player individually and how poor they were. Bruno's the captain. He didn't act like a captain today. I thought in the first half he was trying. He was trying hard.
He's at fault for the first half.
His
passing was terrible today. I don't understand what
mistake was awful.
What he was doing. And listen, no one can escape criticism because we've just been battered at home to Bournemouth. Like every player deserves criticism. The one change I would make for Bayern, though, Rafa Varane has to be back in his team. I'm so sorry, but the fact your best defender is not on the pitch, again, comes down to bad decisions, and I think that's a massively bad decision for him. Talk about fitness all you want, talk about falling out, get your best players on the pitch and see what a real leader in the back line can do for you, and I think Rafa Varane has to be back in his team.
You think he should have played Varane a little bit today to get him match ready for Bayern?
100%. He should have started today.
Now that's something I can get behind.
Thanks. We'll be friends again now. But I do feel his treatment of Varane is very similar to what Maguire was getting last season when Maguire was on the sidelines and Shaw was centre-back. You're seeing the same thing happen with Varane. I don't like it. I didn't like it with Maguire, and I'm not a fan of Maguire at all. You're sending a statement to who is our best defender.
He's left-footed though, that's the only thing.
But even before today, if I asked you, are you happy with Luke Shaw being centre-back, you would have said yeah, because he's been okay.
I think in certain instances he's been brilliant. But what I want to see is, if you're going to do it with Varane and Shaw, because Varane's our best defender.
I think Shaw could absolutely play centre-back. He had a bad game today, he did, but Red Shaw did not help out.
We had this, you gave me 3 options in the build-up. What I don't understand is, he's got 2 centre-backs in the bench, and you're playing a player out of position purposely, knowing he's the best player in that position in your team. The maths is not mathing.
I'm honestly
the maths is not mathing. Johnny Evans and Rafa Varane could share out 90 minutes together, 45, or 60, whatever. Share it out. Yet you play Luke Shaw in his preferred position, and you're playing 2 players in their preferred position. Yet you decided to go with this. I don't know.
His stubbornness is going to kill him.
I don't know. But back in process, right? It's a process.
I think Luke Shaw had a bad game at left-sided centre-back, but we miss him as a left-back, honestly. For no coincidence, first half against Chelsea, Luke Shaw was at left-back, and he was brilliant. He was honestly brilliant, and it's the most XG anyone's had in a game, and second half he went to centre-back because, we could afford to a little bit. I mean, we were dominating Chelsea. Chelsea were there for the taking. This game, Luke Shaw didn't have a good time at left-sided centre-back, but it's very different coming on at half-time than starting a full game. It really is.
How did Bruno get the yellow card?
Dissent.
But
so let's unpack that. Why?
That referee was terrible.
Said something to the referee.
No. If you saw that referee was absolutely terrible today. Yeah, he was awful. That's the worst referee.
But he also knows, isn't it? It's got one card.
The thing is, I want my captain to be like that though, because he clearly knows it's not working, and it's frustration, and maybe frustration with himself. And I think it was always going to come, because Bruno's one of them that when he's got a bee in his bonnet, he's going to push and push and push. But let's not deny it. That refereeing performance today was terrible. Absolutely shocking. That referee was poor today.
But like we said, Ten Hag had an opportunity to identify that and think Bruno gets a yellow card, he misses the trip to Anfield, you take him off. Yeah. The game's dead and buried.
Can I just say as quickly as well, what was not worrying, but noticeable today, is we've not really spoke about him, Rashford. I mean, your team are desperate for a goal, you're the highest paid player, the number 10, the star in the team, doesn't come on well into the late 70s on it. That to me lets me know I think Ten Hag is losing faith in Marcus Rashford, I think.
Also, Ten Hag did the same mistake with Casemiro last season. Playing him whilst he knows that he can get suspended. So it's a mistake from the manager. And also on top of that, Casemiro has never gotten this many cards while he was in his previous club. And Bruno Fernandes, he should dissent. I would never, ever, ever can't back you for dissent, because
if it's a mistimed challenge,
it takes the littlest thing. It could even just be like a little shout at the manager as a referee, and he'll give you a yellow card, because they don't have to go and change it, right? They don't, and you can't change it. So full well, and more than the manager, because the manager's picked you anyways. You're the number 1 player on the starting 11. Bruno Fernandes, the captain. You are gonna play. The responsibility is more on you than the manager. That you don't do it.
The manager has to step in.
Yeah, but don't do it. You just know. You set out the game knowing that you can't get a yellow card. So he pulled out 50-50 tackles.
He was pulling out.
Yeah, and you keep your mouth shut.
when people are saying he purposely got a yellow, he didn't. He was pulling out of 50-50s.
Keep
goal,
him out short.
The first goal came from him pulling out a little bit of a 50-50.
I was watching the second half. His head went. You could tell his head went because he was allowing Dalot to take corners in that second half. So that tells me everything you need to know. That Bruno's head was not in that game one bit. But after, I think was it Rashford had that sort of like penalty shout in the second half. And obviously, from that moment, I was watching Bruno every time something kind of went against us, and he was on the ref, on him.
Sometimes,
you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
This is the thing that gets me, and we've got to wrap up because it's been an hour. I know you're saying that he should take responsibility as captain. Absolutely correct. He should take responsibility in himself. But everyone could see it in the crowd. He was heading towards the yellow. He was pointing in the ref. He was having a go at the ref. Everyone could see it. Ten Hag could see it. Take him off.
Yeah, that too.
Like, it's
not worth it.
It's not worth it. So
You've got 60, 70 minutes out of him.
Step in while someone's. I'm taking my player off. His head's hot. He's lost it. I'm taking him off. That's what you should do. Anyway, we are an hour up. Lastly, we have to win to get Europa League still. Even if we lose, we'll go out.
And Galatasaray and Copenhagen have to draw.
Yeah, for us to go through. If one of them win, and we win, we go in Europa.
League,
If they draw and we win, we actually go through the group. And if we draw or lose, we're out.
Wow.
That's the way it is.
Gotta go for it.
Wow.
Lastly, couple more super chats. Dylan Sup says Arteta 8th, 5th, 2nd, Klopp 8th, 4th, 3rd, 1st. It takes time to reset.
First seasons were half season for Arteta, so stop that.
It takes time to reset 10 years of a dead squad. Back the manager, not players.
And none of them went backwards in the second season.
Red Air, thank you for your super chat. Anthony Tracy, Solanke has 9 goals, more than our front 9. YL says, Anana to AFCON, here we go, please. Anyway, guys, to round up the show, just give me one word to sum everything up. Faz?
Sackable.
No holding back. Kev?
I was going to say Groundhog Day, but that's 2 words in
this.
I'm going to use the word I thought Faz was going to say, process.
Process. I mean, are you Ten Hag out now?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you guys still in?
Ten Hag in. Because someone said it, until the structure changes, no manager will ever be successful at this club. So what's the point in doing a merry-go-round again, getting a manager in, get excited, get sacked again?
Structure's the main thing.
The structure and the players need to change.
It doesn't matter. I've said before, you could have Pep Guardiola in charge of these.
Well, I gave him game week 15.
I'm sorry, Pep would do a miles better job.
No,
they did do a better job, but if you've got...
Not long term though.
By the way, I'm still Eric Ten Hag in, and I want to give him time, but Pep doesn't get basic stuff wrong like today.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came second. How weird is that? The worst manager of Man United history came second.
I want to see Ten Hag under a new structure. I want to see all that. But there's decisions being made that is not because of the Glazers.
The pressure's getting to him.
18 points behind City tells you how bad everybody else was and how good Ole did at that time to come that close. Because nobody else could.
We weren't close.
Anyway,
I know we weren't, but
a hell of a lot of points.
And so did everybody else. Nobody could push to them. But Ole came second, and he didn't regress in the second season.
Anyway, guys, that's enough of today. Absolutely.
I've had enough.
I could do another hour, guys. I don't know about you.
Someone in the chat said Beth would take a bullet for Luke Shaw.
Clearly.
Oh, God. I mean...
Would you?
who would you jump in front of if there was a bullet going to both of them? Luke Shaw, Mason Mount. Who are you picking? You've got to save one.
Oh, I'm saving Luke Shaw.
Oh, really? I'm surprised.
If you said Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, that's when it gets difficult.
After that performance, you're taking a bullet for anyone.
It's a different argument.
No chance.
I saw you Mason Mount tattoo. I thought it'd be Mason Mount.
There's certain players I like, and there's certain... The thing is, okay, most of them players, we do have to wrap up, they need to be sold, they need to be shipped, and they're not good enough. There's a few players in that team where I do think they're in... Yeah, okay, they're not going to be perfect all the time, no player is, but they're in a team of crap. And there's some shining lights. I think Shaw's one of them. People hate me for this because he had a bad game. I think Bruno's one of them. I think Garnacho's one of them. Hojlund, I like him. He's just come in.
I think Anthony, I was surprised Anthony got brought off today. I thought he was better than Garnacho. I was surprised he came.
Apart from that, anyway, yeah, we all need a hug. We all need a hug. Thank you, everyone. Want to cry? I want to cry. Double A, thank you. Kev. Thank you again.
Thank you. Therapy for him.
Thanks again, left it all out there. At least, you know what, people can criticise everything we say, no one's going to ever like everything, but the most you can do is be honest, and that's the
We
best
all want
thing.
the best for United, that's the main thing, innit? That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we'll love you and leave you. Go and watch the rest of the Villa Arsenal game, probably see some proper football, and yeah, maybe avoid match of the day tonight, guys. But thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for contributing with so many super chats. Sorry if I couldn't get to them all. And thank you for watching. Hit a like on the video. Links in the description for the last few tickets for the
At least
Christmas
this was
show.
better than the 90 minutes that you saw.
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Levels above.
Level. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a nice night. We'll see you later.